Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Square Eye Syndrome podcast. I'm Ben Gilman. As always, I'm joined by a man who claims he's Scottish, for I've never seen eat a melted Mars bar or drink an iron brew. It's Tom Hill.
I'm drinking iron brew right now, and I happen to be diabetic, so that's all you're getting.
Okay. I'm joined by a man who drinks Guinness and slaps lip. Oh wait, that's Ireland, Northern Irish. Liam Nielsen, Titanic, and James Nesbitt. It's Dan Rudge.
He's really running out of material. He's just listing things. Holy shit.
And
just fucking bullet points it. Like a true Englishman.
And I'm also joined by someone who I already know who will be talking about what he will be talking about next week on the podcast. It's Supernatural finale because I watch his videos. It's Troy Salmon.
Oh yeah, it was a tearjerker. My God.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Spoilers. If you want to know what he's going to watch, go watch his videos. So today we're all assembled like a really shit Avengers to talk about Black Mirror in every episode except for Boulder Snatch, which we don't count because it's an interactive episode. So we're going to take that off the list. But
In its own category.
Yes. It was an interesting experiment. No. We're going to use, instead of going by episode order, we are going to do, we thought it would be interesting to use a list ranked by Business Insider. Every Black Mirror episode on Netflix ranked from worst to best. We're not going to, this is not our list, we're just doing the episode order that it goes from worst to best. We disagree already, we've already looked at the list, but we're just commenting on each episode as it comes, and we're not going to do them 1 to 5. We're just going to make it interesting for you guys. But first of all, I think we should get some background on Black Mirror. So Dan, why don't you talk to us about that?
All right, so obviously created, it's the brainchild of Charlie Brooker, or Charlton Brooker. English television presenter. He's an author, a screenwriter, a satirist, social critic. He's also been a cartoonist. He's the force behind Screen Wipe, Games Wipe, News Wipe, Weekly Wipe, 10 O'Clock Live. He wrote the horror drama series Dead Set, and he's also written for The Guardian in the UK. He started off working as a teenager, writer and cartoonist for Oink, which was a comic produced in the late 1980s. One of his cartoons actually got the magazine taken up, and one of the numbers of the magazine taken off the shelves at one point for being too controversial.
What was it?
I have not found that one. I have not found that one.
I'm just intrigued.
It's not in with the info I have on it.
No, fair enough. Sorry, I didn't want to put you on the spot. It's just an interesting point.
He has listed his comedic influences as Monty Python, The Young Ones, Blackadder, Chris Morris, and Vic Reeves.
That's a pretty good little warehouse to be inspired by.
Suddenly, Chris Morris. Like, I can see why when you look at it, but I don't know if it's unfair to the boy, but I'd never expected Chris Morris to be in anyone's influences.
No, Chris Morris is not funny, so I agree with you, Dan.
Dan, just as a point of reference, it was something that had a reference to sort of Nazis that got the comic book pulled. He created a cartoon entitled Helmut Versler's Cruelty Zoo, which professed to be an advert for a theme park created by a Teutonic psychologist.
Oh, damn.
There you go.
That's what got it pulled. And sounds very Black Mirror, let's be brutally honest.
Well, so that's where you start seeing him.
Yeah.
Like, you start writing hit pieces for college newspapers, and he moves on to being a columnist, and he keeps on writing, and he keeps on being an author, and he keeps on getting TV work and radio work, and he's gone from strength to strength. Like, he's always been true to himself, and wherever he's gone with what he's done, he's taken a core audience with him, and as he's explored different avenues, he's gained more and more.
Yeah.
If we're looking at most influential British comedians of the last 10 years, you can't really argue that he's right up there.
He's also very funny. He's lots of people point out that like this kind of stuff is quite dark, but he's actually very, very witty.
Also, he's written some really good books, really vicious newspaper columns that are just really funny, and there's also Screen Wipe. I love that show. Oh.
Yeah. I
His
like
COVID
what he did for
special.
lockdown on that.
Oh, the COVID special. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ. I was pissing myself.
That was absolutely brilliant. Wasn't he? Didn't he once write in a column about George W. Bush, John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald? Where are we now that we need you, or something?
My wife
Yes,
did
he
sour.
did, exactly.
Oh, damn.
My wife did sour on him though, because he made that joke about all of Asia looking like China. She got a bit pissed off about that. To be fair, it was a bad joke, but
yeah.
I love him to pieces. I think he's.
The thing is, you're not going to have a
dangerous.
hit every time with your jokes. Sometimes you're gonna.
No,
Yeah,
I know, but he does make me cry with laughter. I have to be very careful drinking anything when he's on TV because he's just really funny. You know what I mean?
A complete aside,
yeah.
I would love it if they could get him on Taskmaster. I think he'd be brilliant at it, but that's just
yes.
that's just me.
No, when Ben shows Taskmaster.
Well, he's nailing Connie from Blue Peter, isn't he? His wife
Is he? Oh yeah, of course
Connie,
he is. Yeah.
She's
Connie
still
Hunt,
quite fit, by the way. Looking at the Screen Wipe lockdown, she's still got it. So anyway, before we have any more Eureka moments, I'll let Dan finish his Charlie Brooker.
Yeah, sorry, Dan.
You guys had taken it at about the end of where I was with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go for it. If you do not know, Black Mirror is a show based on Charlie Brooker's. Not really. He doesn't really trust technology.
It's sci-fi.
Yeah, about technology and how most of the episodes humans are too reliant on technology, and it is darkly funny as well.
It's specifically about how technology can evolve.
Yes.
And about the possible consequences in future scenarios.
Misuse. Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but he said that Black Mirror is about the current technology we use and the technology we could be using 10 minutes from now.
Yeah.
I think is the way he described it. And that's the whole point, is he's saying that all of the things that he's suggesting are actually probably physically capable, are possible with the technology to use and where we're going. Most of those things actually could happen to a degree.
Okay.
So it's a dystopian future, basically, but it's an entirely plausible, possible one.
Okay.
Taken to the extremes.
Yeah.
So we're going to start. Like I said, this is not a ranking that we're just doing it in order because we think it's interesting not to do it season by season. And we'll tell you our favorite.
It's an interesting order. We don't necessarily agree with it, but we feel like it's a good place to work with.
Yeah. It's better than just going from episode 1 to.
We'll also leave a link to it in the description.
Yeah. So we're going to start with Rachel, Jack, and Ashley 2 from season 5. It's about the main character is played by Miley Cyrus, who, for me, which is good news, she's put in a coma for most of the episodes, so that helps.
Oh my gosh.
Does a great job there.
Very hard.
It's about. Anyone like to explain the plot of this one very quickly?
Yeah, sure.
So,
do you want to do it, Dan, or do you want me to do it?
Work away.
Very brief one, so we can talk about the episode.
it's basically you've got this young pop star who's an inspiration to millions, much like Miley Cyrus was herself. And it's about how she is. They create a doll that has part of her personality to make more money and for marketing, but she's actually being manipulated by her manager, who's also her aunt, and her manager ends up basically putting her into a coma and then trying to manipulate the situation again. And it's about her fans managing to help her like get back as well. But it's a comment on kind of people. I suppose it's a comment on these young pop stars. A lot of them are micromanaged by really pushy people and aren't actually being themselves. Which is, I imagine, why Miley Cyrus wanted to do the show. Because I imagine that to a degree, I'm not saying that was what her life was like, but working for like Disney and those kind of things, she probably was very micromanaged herself.
I found her entirely convincing in this. I did.
Yeah.
Especially those corporations, especially things like Disney, man. You're going to be micromanaged.
There's two roles she has. She has the bit where she's trapped in the robot, in the little robot, which is very cute. Very, very cute robot design. And when she's out of the coma, she's really just understated. She doesn't play it up. It's just very funny, very natural acting. You know, I'm not a big. I've never seen her act before, so this is interesting for me.
It's
her music is shit, but
Hannah Montana, I like some early stuff.
There's not a huge amount to say about this episode. I mean, this is actually the last episode. This is the final episode that's come out. For now.
They were doing season 6, but because of COVID, it's been postponed.
Yeah, so they will do a season 6, but this is currently the very last episode of Black Mirror that has come out.
Yeah.
And
what was
it's here's the thing, and I was saying this to you guys before we start recording, saying that this is the worst episode of Black Mirror is actually not a massive insult to this show. I'm actually looking at the information. It's still one of the highest rated episodes on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's the worst. Some people, I'm on these people who voted for this, they're saying that it's the worst episode they've got.
Nah.
But it's, number one, I don't necessarily agree with that. But number two, if that's your worst episode, then
kind of like being the dumbest kid in the absolute smartest class in the country. Because if we want to really put Black Mirror somewhere, it's kind of amongst those absolutely smartest television programs we have access to right now.
Yes.
Okay. Is it any? What's your favorite part of the episode? I just want to I like the relationship with the sisters. It's quite funny.
I'd like to take a little bit now, just because I want to say something about this that made me have a realization. I binge watched Black Mirror for this as much as I possibly could, because I hadn't seen even 50% of the episodes. So I had to get through all of it to be able to be informed for this podcast. And believe you me, it was a fucking slog. Right? Don't do it. Take them one at a time.
No, lost me. I've never seen it either.
Don't do it. And by the time I got to this one, I had this realization. I was grateful that they pussied out. I was grateful. Having gone through all of that, I was grateful they pussied out, but I also hate them for it, because the commentary that could have been given on what happens whenever you take that digitally taken personality and from a coma drawn and corrupted, and what happens when that goes out into the world, where give me a wider level of consequence to that instead of pussying out and having them save her. I'd rather it went that Black Mirror.
The thought I had was, if this was series 1 of Black Mirror, she'd have died when that plug was pulled.
That's it. I mean, Black Mirror, the early Black Mirror is dark as balls, and at least it feels like a bit of American happiness got inserted when it got to Netflix a little bit, and that's a good thing, because you need a bit of happiness sometimes. Otherwise,
Yeah. But the thing, we'll come to this in greater depth at some point, but Charlie Brooker himself acknowledged when he'd finished writing season 2 that basically the entire first and second season were all about people being trapped. And the move to Netflix allowed him to write stories where he could do things where there's still quite a lot of that, the feeling of being trapped, because it's a very powerful emotion.
You can tell it's British. Oh,
he had more scope, and also Netflix wanted a little bit more kind of. He had to make it play for an American market to a degree, but without selling himself out. I don't think he has sold himself out at all. I think he will probably come back to the things you're talking about that he didn't do with this episode in another one and go really dark with it.
Like, I completely believe you and would say, yeah, thinking about it, he probably will. And no, he hasn't sold himself out either. Like, and credit where credit's due, I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, let's move on.
Through everything, I still enjoyed this episode.
I'm a fan of Mali anyway, so I'm good. I'm good at this.
You like her music, Troy?
Music, a few.
Okay.
Everyone's got a couple of small people.
A few. Come on, give me a break. I know a few.
Okay. I cannot name you one song. All right, let's move on because we got 22 more of these to go, lads. We don't want to be
Wrecking Ball.
Oh yeah, Wrecking Ball. Yeah.
See, that's a tune. That's a tune. Like a wrecking ball.
Okay.
Is it sad that I need?
You know the good stuff, man.
Speaking of moving on, we
next episode, before it turns into karaoke carpool, Men Against Fire, which is about, what would you guys? I'm going to leave it to you guys to describe them because I'm too lazy today.
It's about the army, isn't it?
It's about government control again. There's a lot of them that are
human roaches.
I get really bored with the American army and things. I just find American army really.
Ben, I'm kind of with you on that. To be fair,
not against America.
I mean that the actual premise.
I just don't agree with the whole "we're taking over the whole world" thing. That's what they do. They stick their nose where they feel like it, and I feel they should be held accountable. But that's just me.
Yeah. But it is also about personal accountability.
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line?
Well, it's basically it's about a soldier who uncovers a conspiracy when he discovers that the zombie-like creatures he's been ordered to hunt are actually human, that were masked by technology that wipes them soldiers' memories and controls what they see.
So basically, these soldiers are sent out to hunt these things that to them look like creatures that can't speak, look like vampires to a large degree.
Yeah.
And so naturally they shoot because they feel like they need to defend themselves and all that kind of stuff. And then this guy, he's got an implant that he agreed to, that he had his memory wiped, so didn't know he'd agreed to, that allows him to see it that way, and it gets knocked out by a flash, like a USB, and suddenly he starts seeing these people are no different to anybody else, but it's been engineered by the army that people who have undesirable traits are then made to look like animals, basically, to make it easier and more palatable for soldiers to act. And the guy who runs the army psychology team, he sums it up perfectly because he explains why they did it. That in the First World War, people barely aimed at they didn't want to kill each other. So if they aimed low or they aimed to the side, they missed each other. There's like a 10% conversion rate of shots to fatalities. Went up a little bit for the Second World War, but it was only at 30%. And even when they got to Korea, and they made it better, the conditioning of the soldiers to kill, it was still only 70%. Whereas this thing where these soldiers think they're fighting animals, not other humans.
Call it roaches.
Roaches, that's the one. Dang it, I couldn't think of the word.
Or that's what we call people in Essex.
Yeah, well, yeah. But the dehumanizing of those people makes it easier for the soldiers to shoot.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting thing about how armies do it, but also this is the dehumanizing of people in order to make it easier for people to kill them is not a new idea.
It's a term of brainwashing, isn't it? It's just another word.
But I mean, this is exactly what the Nazis were doing.
Yeah.
This is exactly that kind of thing. And before that, you dehumanize your opponent, make it like they are like an animal that you would not think about stamping on, and at least a proportion of the people will start to follow that belief structure.
Yeah.
It's just I love the way that it's done with technology though in this.
Yeah, I love that stuff. That kind
it's very clever.
For me, this felt like a poor Call of Duty storyline.
Just,
hoorah! Anyway.
My problem with this was that I think I realised quite early what the twist was likely to be.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, it's going to turn out that there's something wrong about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the one thing I would say, though, is the performances of the main actors is fantastic in this. The story is kind of weak, but the performances drag it into being still a fairly good
That Hunter lady is fucking scary.
See, I find the psychologist the scariest. He's so calm.
He's amazing.
So quiet. It's just beautiful.
Okay, so we're going to move on from that one then, because we've still got 21 to do.
20. You're still including the Bandersnatch in your calculations?
No, we've just done 2 episodes. This is 23.
Yeah,
it's actually a list of 22 because Bandersnatch is in there, but we're skipping it.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah,
That's
right.
What I meant.
Sorry. I thought I was going crazy. Right, that for me personally, this is lower for me. It deserves a spot on this list here, I think. Episode 21, number 21 on the list is from season 4. It's Archangel. It's about a woman who decides they've got technology that can allow a parent to keep an eye on their child at all times with cameras. What is it?
Monitor health and emotional state and all that stuff.
And also, but also block out anything that they think give like a parental controls, so that they don't see things like blood and stuff if they don't want them to.
Interesting concept for an episode. This one. This is one of my. I like this episode. This is from a very strong season 4. The mum does go a bit far though. The mum's a bit clingy.
Well, it's the kind of the one extreme of helicopter parenting, isn't it?
Yeah,
the idea that the parent is hovering over their child constantly. It's taken to an absolute extreme in this.
I think the mum goes a bit crazy with it. I mean, I feel sorry for the daughter at one point. Because, she even into a teenage, we see her grow up, and the mother still wants to continue doing it. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. The mother does stop because she realizes it's being detrimental to her daughter.
Yeah.
And then there's something specific that happens where she suddenly, her daughter lies about where she's spending the evening.
Yeah, she's in her boyfriend and that.
Yeah. So, but then she turns the thing back on and she sees one thing she doesn't like, and then it's like, I'm going to have to keep an eye on this now.
Yeah. She's like, how dare you go out there without telling me where you're going? How dare you?
Yeah.
Complex.
But I don't know. I feel like maybe they could have done more with this episode, but it's still a very good episode.
Yeah, it was a simple episode, but it was effective.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
So why not?
Why like it?
It's tough to keep my attention on it. I think.
Okay, fair enough. I totally get what you mean.
This is the worst one for me.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
No,
it's not the one which waked me out the worst. It's not the one which I'd have the worst trouble watching again, because there was one which completely waked me out and I can never watch again.
Oh wow!
But it is the worst one for me.
See, there's a couple that kind of properly got to me, but I would watch them again because they were brilliant.
Yeah, even with the twist at the end. But so far we haven't hit a classic one yet. So the next one then is 50 million merits.
It is a disgrace that this is that far down the list. I'm sorry, but
because this is a brilliant. This is because for me the first season is a bit of a mixed bag, but this is the standout one. It's about basically a future where your talent shows like America or Britain's Got Talent, X Factor. You have to. Well, it's like a very poor. Like you guys describe it. I'm too fucking.
It's like being a drone.
Yeah.
It's like being a drone. Everyone has to run these bicycles in order to build up credits.
Yeah.
Which they then have to spend ages. They're in like these rooms that have TVs around the whole walls, and every 5 minutes they've got adverts. And if they've got enough credits, they can skip the adverts. Otherwise, they have to sit and be bombarded by the adverts.
Yeah. I think one day this is for all the people that for some reason that Britain's Got Talent and X Factor, they're going to get locked in Essex, and the rest of humanity will get on with their life and all the talent shows.
What is your issue with Essex today?
What is your issue with them? They're nice people.
I don't like me and my sister, man. It's a thing. If she don't listen to this, it's fine. I can shoot her. My brother will stay quiet. He's a fan. Hello, Ross. But basically, this is how I think people that like talent shows will be treated in the future. They'll be boxed in away from the rest of humanity, so the rest of us can get on with intelligent conversation.
It's kind of more about everything is now prepackaged. Everything, your work, your living area, the entertainment that you consume, everything about your life, even looking at the outside at something real, you can't do it. Making your own art is pretty much forbidden. Even using what you can find from the wrappings of other things are going to be taken away the moment you set it anywhere outside of your person. Yeah. Everything in here is completely controlled. There is no freedom at all in this episode. And it's about this one guy's quest to find something real. Now, he's a normal human being. He's not prepared for all the things he finds along the way, and he does have a lot of stumbling blocks. But I think this episode is ultimately about him managing to go from a 0 score to a 1 score.
Yeah.
In his sort of net gain of trying to find something real. And he damages himself and he corrupts himself and he sells himself off to keep that one bit of real.
The Daniel Kaluuya.
Man.
Yeah. He is. You know what? Lately, I get into this next week as well. There's a lot of actors that you see in British television that just keep popping up.
Yeah.
I mean, before Black Panther and Get Out, he was a rising star in a lot of British television like Skins, The Fades, and Black Mirror. He's just a fantastic actor. He just really makes me smile. Great performance.
He's an amazing actor.
He's a great actor.
My big issue with this episode is that I feel like they got the ending ever so slightly wrong. I mean, because he, in the end, basically, he becomes a complete hypocrite. The one thing that would have made this episode actually feel quite good for me is if he'd managed to save her. If what he'd done had managed to get her out of being a prostitute, basically. Or a porn star, because that's what led him to doing all the things he did, was the fact that she got put into that lifestyle and was being used as just a sex aid, basically. I would have quite liked it if in that final scene after he takes away the video and you see that he's in the plush apartment with all the great stuff, that she was there with him, that he'd actually managed to get her out. That would have made that episode the best thing in the world for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Black Mirror is not a happy ending kind of show.
No.
So I understand why they didn't, but it made me feel like he was a real hypocrite.
Yeah.
Because surely that would
when you're like, I'm rich now. Let's go.
Because when you're in that position, he could ask them for anything he wanted in that moment. Surely, if that's the thing that you fought to get, the reason you fought to get there is because of that.
Exactly.
You'd go, I want to save her. Unless you've become completely corrupted. And that was the thing I wanted. I found myself not liking him as those credits rolled.
Yeah.
After I'd been on his side the whole way through.
Well, I agree with Dan. That's why it's a good. It's better than it's the best episode of season 1. But
I'd question that. But it's a great episode.
I'm loving this right now.
This is in my top 5, I think.
Okay.
I'd probably agree with that.
One of my faves. It's probably top 3 for me.
Okay,
It's certainly it's certainly better than the pig fucking one, which we'll get to.
I disagree with you. That is a brilliant episode.
That was special.
Go on, Boris. Why don't you go on, Boris? I love you to see you do it, mate. That's what you deserve, you twat. Anyway, so the next one.
The opinions of Ben Gilman are not necessarily the opinions of Square.
Exactly. Disclaimer.
That's the whole of England. That's fine. Anyway,
the thing you've got to remember about that episode, and we'll get to it, is this was our introduction to Black fucking Mirror. Was that episode?
Okay, we'll get to it. But
Anyway.
moving on, we have the next episode, which is Shut Up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Again, very, very low for some reason. Season 3.
I don't understand why this is so low.
Because it's got to have a twist at the end. It's about someone that basically, how do you say it? He gets blackmailed into doing horrifying things because they've got some material on him. We don't know what it is at the time. They have to do tasks.
You know they caught him wanking on his webcam.
That's what to say about he did it.
Yes, but we don't know what he was wanking to.
Yeah, you say
It's only at the end we find out he was wanking to child porn, which is a jaw drop in. It's
I bet you start basically suspecting it's something worse than just being caught wanking whenever things get more and more extreme, and he keeps going along with it.
Yeah. You kind of start to think it's something really bad.
I mean, one of the problems I had with this episode, and this is a brilliantly put together episode, I would have to say, is I like Dan binge watched a lot of Black Mirror in the last week. Yeah. And so I was from the minute this started, I'm going, right, what's the twist? What's the twist? Where's the twist? It's got to be something really bad that this guy's done. What's the twist? From the minute I started watching it.
The first time I saw this episode, I felt like I had to go and have a cold shower. It made me that disgusted.
You wanted to clean yourself after,
Because the thing with this episode is, he's done something, and you kind of don't know if you can trust him, depending on what we find out it is that he was wanking to. You know what I mean? And then you just kind of feel like, you kind of think it's got to be that, and you don't want to believe it, and then you find out it's what you think it is, and you're like, It makes you feel like if someone you knew came out as a paedophile or something. It's just horrifying isn't it?
It's a horror. But that's why this episode is so good, because it's horrific.
Exactly.
The other thing, though, is that I was saying this to Dan, I think, the other day. I feel like you come away not liking anybody at the end of this episode, because even the guy who has made this kid go through all of this because he's basically a paedophile, then goes and breaks his word of I won't tell anybody about the things that other people have done by grassing everybody up. And it's like, well, because I found myself, I wanted Jerome Flynn to get away with it, because what he'd done was nowhere near as bad as what some of the others had done. I mean, adultery is a bad thing, but it's not on the same level as watching child porn on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's
nowhere near that.
So it's almost like there was nobody who wasn't corrupt in this story. And that's the thing that's difficult, because as humans, we want to know who to root for.
Yeah.
I think this comes to one of the actual points of the storytelling, right?
Yeah.
So imagine, like we were talking about this again, Tom.
Mm.
Imagine you had a chance to redo something. I saw something recently. I don't know what social media site it was on, but it was pick a movie and retell it from a different perspective.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't pick a movie. I would pick this Black Mirror episode and retell it from the hacker's perspective.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, good choice there.
Like, it's deliberately left out that you actually can put a human face to any of that. You don't get that, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why it's so unnerving. And
going to turn out that Jerome Flynn's character was the one who was sending all the messages. That was what I thought when I was watching it.
Everyone gets the same punishment in the end, apart from the guy who gets killed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's just
the punishment is basically left to your fate. Now everyone knows.
Yeah.
But it feels like there should be levels to it. And if you had the hacker's perspective, you'd have a lot more reasoning to that. And it would be fascinating, but it might take away from this episode.
Yeah, it's the scariness of not knowing why the hacker is doing it all.
The unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The unknown, that's what I'm saying.
Because all the people have done variously different things.
Yeah. And for me, the fact that you never find out who the hacker is just makes it more chilling. We never find out why they did it.
Well, we know he could be a sicko himself. You don't know.
Well, yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
And make it for his past sins. You don't know.
Hell, he could turn out to be the one who got killed in the woods by the kid.
Yeah. Could be anyone.
Could be.
And he could have set it for like an hour after that. These things go live.
Like a timer.
Yeah. You just don't know. Maybe he was a horrific person who wanted to be killed. And so this is the way he did it. He was either going to get arrested or killed by the kid. That potentially could be what it is, but you just don't know.
Yeah, for me, someone like that, they would never want to get caught. They'd rather flipping die, to be honest. Those kind of people.
Yeah, because living through that wouldn't be fun.
Yeah,
so this is a really solid episode. This is I would consider one of the best. I know.
One of the best.
Well, yes.
It would be up in the top 10 for me for sure.
Top 5 for me.
The other thing I'd say, you were saying that this is one of the most unnerving ones, Dan.
This is one of the most unnerving ones, but we've discussed all the reasons why. The topics it deals with in the end, I think
there's one thing you're missing that makes it unnerving as well, though. Because Charlie Brooker intentionally puts episodes in where he doesn't use any kind of futuristic technology. It's all technology that currently is in use.
Could happen there.
That's what he does with this episode. These are all things that could be done today.
Yeah.
And I think that adds another level of the discomfort to it.
Yeah. And this is the first episode this is the first season where you're now getting international. That's right. It's not just British anymore. So depending on what order you were watching season 3, if you're watching this in order, the Netflix order, this is after 2 American episodes. So this is like I remember at the time watching this, it felt a bit like classic Black Mirror, very classic Black Mirror, like the British original. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, this is very true to that. Okay, moving on. We
have
number
so the world of movement. Oh dear. So this is a clanger for me. This is about someone who is a comedian who has a character called Waldo, who's a very satanical character, but he's animated, and he's much more. It would ask you what would happen if a cartoon character ran for power in a seat. Well, you've got Boris Johnson, Donald Trump, so now we can see how that's worked out. But for me, no characters are really likable in this. It's a bit of a weird ending. All of a sudden, the end of the world, Waldo's taken over. I don't know. I don't like this one, really. This is the one that I could never watch again, happily. I
actually quite enjoyed this one.
Really? Interesting. Why do you like it then, Tom? Try and turn me around on it.
I don't know. It's the thing that I liked was the readiness of people to listen to a cartoonish blue bear. And it just made me think of all the shit that's gone on with Brexit and all those things. People are easily led, and this is taking it to an extreme. But like the guy who voices Waldo comes out and tries to stop it, somebody else starts using the voice, and he gets beaten shitless for it by the public. It's just like that is the kind of world we live in now, which is why I just thought it was quite a nice kind of political commentary.
Belief in idols, yeah. Good point.
On where we are right now. People are so easily led by things that are flashy and showy and actually have no real substance to them.
Yeah, when I saw this episode, I thought... Go on.
This is definitely up there. This is number 2.
This is a great episode.
My list of absolute favourites. This, I for almost the exact same reasons as Tom, this resonated with me. Also, because there has been this shift towards from using tropes to tell stories, we're now using ideologies to tell stories. I resonated with this one for that reason as well, and I really did sympathize with the main character. So this one, I absolutely shouldn't be where it is. I put it at number 2.
Okay. Troy?
Yeah, as I was going to say before, the Waldo moment reminded me of I've talked about it in the channel before. It's, a show called Into the Dark. It's like an anthology, similar to Black Mirror in a way. But there's an episode called Puka, and it was like a massive bear, an evil bear, and that was like branding. The branding was everywhere. And then there was this guy they got to hide to actually play the actual bear, like wore the suit, everything like that. Got possessed by it. Everyone loved him, and literally he was killing all these kids. So at the same time, but they loved him. Like, yes, Puka, this. So in a way, this kind of reminds me of that because everyone's just following this random bear, and they love him, and it's just creating all this chaos. And it's going to take over the world at some point. So imagine that's what I love. I loved it, man. As Dan said before, top episode, top 3 for me as well.
See, this is the thing. I hadn't realised that because like I say, I binge watched loads of these.
Yeah.
This was all before Brexit and Donald Trump.
No,
that kind of unnerves.
Go on then, Tom.
I watched this in original broadcast, and maybe if I watched it now in the wake of all that's happened the last 5 years, I would maybe like it a lot more now.
You should go back and watch it again. Give it another chance.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Before we move on,
your call.
Before we move on from this one, there is one more thing I wanted to bring up about it, which is this all is also a commentary not on so much the technology, because the technology is there. It's on applications we didn't think about of the work of artists, because it builds off of that whole shepherd, fairy, obey.
Ah, yes, that
graffiti work.
Yeah, love it.
Like how they worked into like thinking about using a same image, something everyone can recognize, just to get people's attention.
Yes.
Like, it was brilliant work, but anything you can use to just explore it is something you can exploit.
Yeah. Once you got a brand of something, man, and it's a noble brand, go anywhere. Pick over anything. So yeah, great point.
Anyway. Just needed to add in.
Okay, well, interesting. We've not agreed on one episode so far. Interesting. No, this is what I like about the show. There's no wrong answer, really. It's a high quality, So Smithereens is season 5. It's got the sexy vicar himself,
Andrew Scott.
Yes, this is a banger of an episode. It's basically about a man in a car. And you guys can explain it better than me, but I absolutely love this episode. It's really, really great.
Me too.
See, I liked it, but I didn't think it went anywhere near far enough as a Black Mirror episode.
See, we're not going to agree. We need to agree.
No, I liked it. I liked it.
I'll let you two fight
I genuinely liked it. And because Andrew Scott's a brilliant actor, and like 80% of it was just him in a car, which was fucking... The man is a genius actor and can make it work. Plus, Charlie Brooker is a great writer.
It feels like we agree and disagree each other more times than a Big Show heel turn. You know what I mean? All right. So, but it's just a really, it's a very small. It's basically mostly 90% of it's in the car. It's like a bottle episode, you could say. On one set.
It's claustrophobic.
Yeah, and it has a lot of heart. And it's Andrew Scott, and he's magnificent.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. You get no argument from me on any of that.
Rips off from the last scene of 7.
Oh, yes. What's in the bags?
What's in the bags?
What's in the bags?
A lot of the scene shooting in that field scene in the car, it just reminded me, the big shots reminded me so much of 7 by a different way.
No, it's true.
I thought Andrew Scott's acting in this was superb. I thought he was fantastic in this.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it went as far as it could have, but kind of like the one with Miley Cyrus, like at the end of the slog through everything, I was ready for a break. I really was, and this was a still heart-wrenching and emotionally charged story that didn't go as far as Black Mirror should go.
Yeah.
What they should have done is whenever he actually makes the phone call is have the guy go, yeah, I know, and you need to fucking surrender to it. Because the more people surrender to it, the more the world will work around it, and the more it won't matter.
Sure.
Topher Grace in this episode as well. Topher Grace is a good actor too.
Yeah, but
Grace.
Took me a while to figure out who it was, to be honest.
Yeah, he looks so different now. Spider-Man 3 Venom. Yeah, it's him. I was shocked. But yeah, that guy's always a good actor, man. He's very underrated as well. He's another one who's not underrated in terms of acting.
I believe it was you, Dan, who once berated me for not liking him.
Oh, okay. Oh, damn. Okay.
Well, no, I had my reasons, but Dan felt my reasons were ridiculous.
I have no recollection of this at all.
because I hated the fact he shortened his name not to Chris but to Topher. I thought he was a pretentious douchebag, and you had a go at me for judging him for doing that.
Oh yeah, no. I knew a bunch of guys called Topher.
Yeah, I fucking hate people who call themselves Topher. Call yourself Chris.
There were too many Chris's.
I'm sorry, but that's just anyone who refers to himself as Topher. I knew another Topher. That might be the reason, because I hated that utter toss bag.
Okay, so
Anyway.
moving on.
Tom's therapy session.
Topher Grace is an amazing actor, and I rate him highly.
Yeah, he is.
But
Fair play. He's had some good stuff. Anyway, so we're moving on back onto what we're doing. Metalhead, from season 4. It's the black and white one. Yes. So it's basically about. Well, we don't know if it's the end. It looks like the end of the world. It's a woman just running away from a non-stop Terminator-like robot. For the whole of it, really.
Dogs, yes.
What do you guys think of this one? This one's for a lot of people, middle ground. I'll let someone else go first on this one. I thought it was an interesting story. Very simple, very easy to understand what's going on. There's no sudden twists. Well, there is at the end. You find out why she was in the warehouse. But did you guys enjoy this? Okay. I didn't say it was good.
Pointless twist in the universe, but anyway.
I didn't say it was good. This one for me was in the middle of the road. Not bad, but just a bit okay. Nothing standout or amazing.
Yeah. I was fine with it until that ending, because I thought, to me, I kind of sat there going, that's just pandering to the Americans. That was the only thing I could think as that scene came up. And I was like, but also as an episode, because there's not a lot of talking or a lot of anything else to it, it's quite hard to follow. So I didn't enjoy it because there wasn't like the same level of connection that you normally have to make to an episode. But on the other hand, the reason that you do watch it is because Maxine Peake is a fucking genius actor.
She's amazing.
And Go on.
Sorry, finish your point. I'll come to it.
No, I was just going to say, Maxine Peake has been in so many things. She is so versatile, so good. And in an episode that has a minimal amount of speech in it, she is brilliant. Her body language, everything about the way she does things, she's so expressive with her face and her body language. It's brilliant. But yeah, go on.
So, people are saying they didn't like this one. I'm going to have to disagree. I really liked it. I made this assumption, and this assumption helped me to enjoy this episode more, which was that this was kind of an artistic nod to something. I found a lot of similarities between this and the Richard Bachman books that were done by Stephen King.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Go on, then. Go on.
A lot of them, like a lot of the stories that he did in those were like really, really simple ideas. And they were taken as long as they took to tell this very simple story and try and get as much into it as possible. And like, have you ever read The Long Walk?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'll have probably seen The Running Man.
Yeah.
Classic. Yeah. Rage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all this sort of stuff. It's
all
like it's this very simple concept, and there's just one thing drastically wrong, really, and then just tell that story. And I really, really enjoyed this episode because I just assumed this was a nod. It felt like a nod.
No, that's. I think I probably would have enjoyed it more if I'd thought of it that way.
I've come in with I agree with Dan on the simple formula, and I think this is the thing I love about Black Mirror the most is there's such a chocolate box approach to this because it's an anthology series, and I've said this before in the podcast. I do love anthology shows because if you don't like this episode, there's always something new in the next episode to get you excited again. And yeah, this is okay. This is I thought this was a clever idea. To shoot it in a noir style black and white was fun. And, it's a bit like the Terminator, basically, non-stop killing machine. We're going to keep coming until she does something at the end.
I mean,
also a nod.
To be honest, and this was just me being incredibly stupid, the one thing that I really did enjoy about this episode is, at the beginning, she and that other guy break into the warehouse.
Yeah.
The guy who gets killed by the things going into his head in the warehouse. The only other thing I can remember seeing him in is an episode of Doctor Who, school reunion episode.
Oh, I see. So you're bringing up the Doctor Who.
No. I'm bringing up Doctor Who today because the reason that I found that amusing was that episode where he played the baddie in the Doctor Who episode saw the return of K9 as a good dog, and this was the exact reversal of those two roles. So I just went, that's
nice.
Sorry,
nice.
that was just for me. I kind of enjoyed that.
Okay, it's really good. It's this is why we wanted to talk about Black Mirror because we had to do this show. So it's a bit. This is why we're doing it like this for the episode because all the specials we've done, there's always been a tone that is the same. This is why we thought we'd do an anthology style pick and mix like the show itself because it's just there's no point in doing it from season 1 to season 5 because there's no point. You can pick and mix them.
It's been done.
Yeah. So the next episode is the national anthem, which is basically which is quite funny because in the book I've got it here. Let me just read the Charlie Brooker here. On the making of this episode, he said the biggest thing for me about this episode is a couple of years later we found out that David Cameron had that thing with the pig. How were we to know? People keep asking me, and I'm now getting sick of telling people we have no idea. If we hadn't known, we wouldn't have done it. But well, it's someone blackmailing someone's life to have the Prime Minister fuck a pig live on television.
Their version of Princess Diana, basically.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. What did you guys think of this one?
It's essentially Tony Blair and Princess Diana, isn't it?
Look, this is one of the best.
Also, the War Madness, I love it.
Okay. Rory Kinnear is a great actor. It's a good cast. Rory Kinnear is a fantastic actor.
It's incredible TV.
I would really like to see a pig try and fuck Donald Trump and Boris Johnson, and then maybe they understand how I feel about them. But okay, enough about the political jokes. As Stan said, my opinions are not a square eye syndrome. But why do you think they picked this as a first episode? Because it's quite an interesting first pick.
Because it's a real punch to the face. Exactly. It tells you that this show is going to be nothing like anything you've seen before.
Crazy.
Two things to bring up. Not entirely answering the question, but leading towards answering the question. One is just like Shut Up and Dance. This could just be done.
Yeah.
And also, unlike Shut Up and Dance, you end up having sympathy for the perpetrator.
Mm. Mm.
It's a difficult one because you also have sympathy for the Prime Minister because it's not his fault either.
And you have sympathy for the princess.
Yeah. You actually end up sympathizing for pretty much everyone in this story.
Mm.
But yeah. For me, this is one of the absolute best ones. It's one of the most memorable, certainly.
Okay. Mm.
It's one of the best. Basically, the obsession with social media, innit? That's why the kidnapper did it. So, also, obviously, it's telling a story of like everyone's gonna watch this on TV, everyone's gonna get big views. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's gonna like, oh, tune in. That's the way you get your message across. If you do anything like on a public scale, you know what I mean? Everyone can see it. Now it gets your message across.
Mm.
So.
And the pig is a good actor too. So better acting than Babe, mate. I'm telling you, better pig acting than Babe. Right. So and at least Rookin his penis did get eaten by the pig, so he survived that episode quite well as well. So Striking Vipers is the next one up. It's about two friends. Well, this is a very interesting episode because when I watched this, I had no idea it was going to go where it went. Online gaming, and this is an interesting thing. They end up having sex with their online avatars in a fighting game, but it's only in the game, not in real life. Very interesting episode. What do you guys think of this one? Personally, I think it's a very brave episode. Comment on online sex. Very interesting. Very productive.
For me, there's like, it feels like it's a story that is actually very played out, that just has some fringe sort of let's throw some technological shit in here now. And like the most sort of how technology might affect it aspect of this is the fact that one of the guys involved in having the affair is a woman in the game.
Yeah.
Right? That's like the biggest level of what technology does to shift it. Because yes, it is immersive VR, but we've had a look at that before. Yeah. I think the best thing about this is the way the people do it in the actual acting. Like, that's what's good about this episode and not much else.
I get your whole point about the immersive VR thing because that appeared in, was it the first episode of season 4, the one with the working in the tech company?
Mm-hmm.
But I always got the feeling that with that, the reason that immersive VR, that immersive world worked is because that guy was a tech genius. These are two guys who are not. This is the reason it felt slightly different to that for me was that this is obviously when this has now become common for everybody to have.
Yeah.
Which is different to when a tech genius is doing it. If you get what I mean.
Fair.
I mean, for me, I enjoyed the episode because the acting was brilliant. Once again, I think I've said this about every single episode of season 5. The ending was a cop-out.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the wife.
At the end, he's allowed to basically go and shag his mate once a year while she goes off and picks up a random guy in a bar.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How is that? He's not actually even doing anything, and she's off picking up.
Exactly. She's like, she's physically.
What husband in their right mind would be all right?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Do you think that?
Well, they actually both think that they've got the best they can out of that bargain, don't they? Because he's also going into it for the sensations he gets in that game.
Yeah. But what he's doing is not in the real world, whereas his wife is going off and shagging random blokes.
But that's the thing, though. Like, what's worse, mentally or physically? That's the thing. What like while the person's going home to you?
Physically, I think.
Is he actually cheating on his wife? That's the question of the episode.
That's the question.
Is it actually cheating?
He feels like it is until he actually tells her. Is the impression I got.
It's
but
an
then he tells her
interesting
and she accepts it.
do you just feel like his Charlie Brooker's kids just took over the ending of season 5?
All right, now here's a
like,
question. Here's a question for you, right? And I'm about to get incredibly personal here.
Okay.
Every single person who's on this podcast has had sex at some point, yes?
Okay.
Yep.
I can't speak for Troy. I can't speak for Troy. I had suspicions, but yes, I had sex.
It's a physical act, right? So you're saying that what's worse, the mental or the physical? Any time that you've had sex, has there been zero mental thing in it for you?
No.
So when you're doing the physical act, you've got both things. I'm
just saying, like, is in terms of, like, you know what I'm saying, what matters to you the most in terms of, like, the individual. Sometimes not all connected.
Could you imagine being okay with your wife going off and shagging around like once a year?
Heck no, you know that.
Yeah.
No.
I'm sorry, but that's where the cop out was. If everybody's kind of happy with the ending, like, well, actually, I fucking wouldn't be. Jesus.
No way. I take it too personally for me.
That would not be a happy ending for me.
No, heck no. Oh God.
Yet they all seem content with it. That for 360 days.
It's not for them, hey, Tom. What can we say? Innit? What can we do? People do that.
Well, it's at least rememberable. It's better than the next episode, Playtest from season 3. It's about an American living in
Playtest was awesome.
London. Okay, it's about an American living in London who needs money because he travels the world. He's a traveler, and they ask him to test a virtual reality thing, and yeah, it just goes mental from there. You guys can tell me why you like it. Obviously, you guys like it. Why?
It's just a cracking episode.
Well, but why do you like it? Because I found it very average and boring. I fell asleep.
What was the episode?
What was the episode? Playtest.
Oh,
Playtest.
With the guy who's backpacking around the world and then ends up going into that technology company to try and do their VR game for lots of money.
The guy looks like 4.
Okay. I think this is a good episode. It's an okay episode. That wasn't anything great. Just a reality video game episode, wasn't it? It wasn't really anything.
Don't ever ask me to watch this again.
I knew he was gonna say.
This is the one that Dan can't stand.
This is the one. I knew it.
Is it the spider, Dan?
No.
Okay. Why can't you watch this again,
His brain gets fried from a phone call from his mom.
Oh.
Like that's what gets me. I'm sorry. Like, that's why I can't watch it. Like, all of that happens because he's in a room with too many competing signals, and one of them is a phone call from his mom. It just wigs me out. But yeah. Really well done. Really well told story. Telling an actual sort of, it's very fictionalized, very stylized, but in the end, it's a possible possible consequence of all this stuff that's going on with different competing signals and how closely they're interacting with our brains.
Yeah.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this not the first episode where you really see that kind of computer game interaction?
Well, it's a playtest for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to say is, you go, oh, this is a very pedestrian episode, but it's introducing something that then comes in again and again and again in Black Mirror. This is the first introduction of that.
The proper, I get what you mean,
tech. So I quite like the fact that it's a little bit more pulled back. Because the next time you see it, you see how wrong it can go. And then it's prevalent everywhere within a couple of episodes. So that's why I think it works. It works more as being within the universe of Black Mirror than as an episode on its own. It's a really important post in the universe of it, I think. If that makes sense. It's not the best episode, but it has a very important role to play in the whole story. That's just my opinion.
It's the whole plot alone just distracts me, man. Anything to do with that subject matter just kills me.
Okay. So next one on this list is Hang the DJ from season 4.
I actually
this is a very sweet fit. I love this episode. Okay. I love this. This is like top 5. This is in my top tier. Because we've all used dating apps.
Speak for yourself.
Well,
I've never used it. Never.
I've used dating apps before I met my wife, and I gave up on them very quickly because they don't really work for me.
Yeah, remember Ben, I told you, man. Ben was just like, I'm like, nah, Ben, nah, don't do it, man.
Yeah, and I just gave up because there's so many. It just doesn't seem to work. I mean, me personally, I find true love is true love, and this is what happens at the end. They just go out with each other, then ignore the advice from their devices, and they just decide that they are going to fall in love. The ending's a bit weird, but
I thought the ending was great.
Okay, but this is like one of my favorite episodes because I just kind of feel like, how do I say it? I feel like all this matchmaking thing, like they can tell your ideal partner is a load of bollocks. I think you have to have two people chat to find out if they're going to be compatible.
But that's the whole point of this thing, is that this app is doing that.
Yeah,
the whole point is for virtually the whole episode, you're seeing a computer-generated version of the story, which has been played out now by this app 1,000 times before these people have ever met in reality. Because the app is playing out all of those different stories to then say this is why this person is 98.2% right for you, because they played out 1,000 different scenarios with the personality traits that they found.
For me, the grander theme that is suggested by this episode is you kind of get the feeling, as this list says here, the real Frank and Amy's relationship could be perceived as just as fake as the simulated ones in real life.
Yeah, but then the point is, then it's not fake. This is an algorithm running through possibilities.
Real possibilities, like
And the reason I like this episode is because I'm sitting there, as I do with most Black Mirror things, going, well, what's the horrible, nasty twist at the end of this? And for once, it wasn't a horrible, nasty twist. It was actually, yes, you've been watching something that wasn't what you thought it was the whole way through, but it's for a good reason for once.
Yeah.
So I actually really like that.
Yeah, no strings attached. Yeah.
It's a good episode. I just find the episode really charming, and the couple are really nice.
Yeah.
It's a winner for me.
It's a very good episode.
Yeah.
I really, really like this one as well, but I didn't see the ending as quite so positive as you have.
Okay. How so?
Okay.
There's a lot of this idea about the digital consciousness of people suffering. And when you think about how many digital consciousnesses suffered to create that one dating app result, that got me a bit.
But they didn't all go through the same experience. The one we saw was one experience of 1,000.
Yeah.
Loads of them would have been 10 times better.
Quite possibly.
And some of them would have been 10 times worse, but...
Dan's talking about the ones that failed, though.
Yeah, but you don't see them. You don't know that there were any.
It's the thought.
I do like the idea that it's based off of rebelling against it.
Yes.
Like, I love that idea.
Yeah, me too. Someone who's dated
that, again,
I love the fact that we rebel against it.
That creates strife. That creates something where, these people are actually being put under pressure each and every time to get there. It's like, okay, I'm not sure about the ending. I absolutely love the episode, and it's really
good episode. Yay!
Like they're in the top 5.
Yeah, top 10 for me. But I tell you what should be in the top 5 is the next one, which has been ranked number 10 for some reason. White Bear.
I can fully understand why some people will not be a fan of this episode.
This is about a woman called Victoria who keeps reliving a traumatic event. She wakes up not knowing who she is. She's trying to figure out what's going on, and there's already the creepy image for me is people just until you know what's going on, people just running at her with mobile phones filming her.
Yeah, basically loads of people watching and then a group of hunters. Yeah,
it is one of the most frightening images. It's just disturbing.
Yeah,
because I've seen this a lot in real life. If there's been an accident, people just filming instead of helping someone. Phone zombies. I call them phone zombies in real life. People just filming instead of helping someone. They're just sitting there filming it.
and all of this episode is done with tech that currently exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we find out she murdered a child.
Yeah.
She didn't. She videoed a child being murdered.
Oh. Thank you for correcting me there.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I've seen it. Thank you for that, Tom. But it's just there's that great image of her in a glass box and everyone just booing her. And yeah, you find out it's a theme park for people to meet murderers and all that. It's
yeah, I mean, the problem I had with this episode, and I loved this episode, it was brilliantly acted, so well done, was by this point I'd kind of realised Black Mirror always has a twist to it. So I'm going, I don't know whether I should believe that this person is the victim here. From really early on, I'm going, is she actually the victim or has she done something? Where are we with this? So I didn't kind of immerse myself as much as I might in following her story and supporting her and hoping she won. Because at all times I was going, there's going to be a twist. There's going to be something. Yeah. And it's going to change my entire perception of at least one of the characters.
Yeah, I love the actress as well. Nora Crutchlow, I love her stuff.
Yeah.
For being human, yes. She's fantastic.
Don't knock her for being human. God damn it.
You bring that up as like a bad thing. Come on now. She's doing other stuff as well. Come on.
No, but that's her most prominent role that I can think of off the top of my head. She's a fantastic actress. She's been in loads of things. But...
She's going to be in Morbius as well, by the way. She's going to be in the new movie, the Spider-Man movie Morbius, by the way.
Can I ask people a question?
Well.
Just done.
Would you go to White Bear Justice Park?
No.
No.
See, here's the thing. Once again, Dan and I were discussing this particular episode the other day. Part of me, I think all of us have been guilty at some point when somebody has done something truly horrific of saying they deserve X, Y, and Z punishment. They deserve worse than just being put in a prison cell and all that kind of stuff. We've all said it, right?
Yeah, of course.
This is us seeing what that might be. But the thing that always gets me is, yes, this woman has done something horrific. Yes, she deserves to be punished. But it's once you get to the bit where she gets shown what she'd done, which of course she no longer remembers because she's had her mind wiped.
Yeah, the mind wiped.
It's the people who are supposed to be holding out the punishment and giving her the punishment. They're reveling in her pain. They're just as bad as she is in that they are getting off almost.
Yeah, they get off in it. Yeah.
On putting her through it.
Yeah.
So suddenly, who are you supporting in this? Because it's uncomfortable to think you're on the side of the guys who are putting a human being through this day in, day out and finding it funny, or being on the side of a child murderer. Where are you in this?
Can I ask another question?
Go on.
Sure.
If you grew up with this being the norm, would you go to White Bear Justice Park?
Probably.
The norm. I don't know. You never know.
That's a question, Dan. Jesus Christ.
I know. If I was there, I don't know.
Why don't you just ask me which family member I would survive from a house fire? Jesus Christ.
Okay, then.
It wouldn't be my sister. No, I love you if you ever listen to this.
Oh, damn.
Even if you live in Essex.
Still Essex.
I don't know. But I feel like Tom's right, though. I mean, the people are just as bad. It's the whole mob mentality. I mean, you see it a lot now on Twitter and stuff. I think if someone's done something bad, I still think people can be just as bad at pounding about it. Yeah, cancel culture.
Can I put in an aside here, Ben?
Yes.
Have you guys ever watched Darren Brown The Experiments?
I hate Darren Brown. No, so no.
No, I never seen
So, but Darren Brown, he did a very specific episode that was all about mob mentality.
Okay.
And it was absolutely brilliant because he didn't let the mob realize that they were becoming a mob. He slowly but surely kept giving them the opportunity to do things anonymously, and they became more and more vicious with every option he gave them. It was brilliant.
Oh, wow.
So, if you get the chance to see it, it's on. I'm sure you'll find it on like More 4.
I'll check it.
I'll try and find the exact episode name for you. Ben, obviously, you're not a fan of Darren Brown. Don't watch it.
I'll watch it.
Dan, you've seen it because I think you and I were watching it together.
Yep.
But Troy, if you're interested in that kind of the way that anonymity gives us the power to be a mob, it's a very, very interesting way of manipulating that scenario.
I'll check it, man. That sounds interesting. That okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. Sorry, apologies for that brief interlude.
No, it's fine. So the next episode is Black Museum, which is from season 4.
You know what? This one gets panned, but I actually quite liked it.
I love it because it all ties in, and if you've watched them all in order, there are so many Easter eggs in the background of this museum from past Black Mirror episodes.
Yes.
And it does the White Christmas thing of, which we'll get to soon. It does the White Christmas thing of a anthology, but with an overarching plot.
Yeah, it's 3 stories in one.
Brilliant. It is brilliant. This is a fantastic episode.
Do you know whose stories this was based on?
Who?
Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wrote well, most specifically the one about the doctor who starts feeling the pain of people. That the first story was based on Penn Jillette, a short story he wrote from when he was in a Spanish hospital, and he couldn't converse with the doctors, and he came up with the idea of what if the doctor could feel what was causing him pain, and then he extrapolated that into making it into a horror story. But by the time he was approached about them using his story as part of this, he actually wanted to audition for the main role. And they said they couldn't. They'd already started filming using the other guy. So they couldn't. I would have loved to have seen Penn from Penn and Teller playing the museum owner. I think he would have been brilliant at it. But the guy who did it is amazing.
The twist at the end is amazing. And it's about justice. It does the white bear thing again, and I had to bring it back. It's this one's more about justice and criminality, about holding responsibility. But it's got, if you can call it, a good ending to it. Like the right person gets it, I think.
Well, you start off thinking that the guy is sort of not immoral but amoral, and then as things go on, you realise that he actually takes a lot more pleasure in when things go wrong than you initially thought he did.
The monkey bit, makes me sad. It's such a heartbreaking bit. It's got a lot of heart, this episode. Then we find out the internal torture chamber is constantly allowed to torture someone.
To make somebody who was put on death row relive their own electrocution.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's maybe one of the sickest things Black Mirror's ever done.
Yes, and it's also a commentary on the idea of innocent people who are on death row and run out of chances.
And also, as Dan said, how did you feel about this one? Because you said earlier you found with the getting electrocuted while on the phone. How about a guy being electrocuted strapped into an electric chair? How do you feel about that, Dan?
This is my favourite episode out of all of them.
It's a good choice. It's a strong top 5 one for me as well.
Yeah, I like this episode.
I love it.
You know what? He's actually got a lot of criticism for not being anywhere near as Black Mirror-y as a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, it was more movie level. That's why.
I haven't checked this.
I don't care. The story actually all fucking makes sense, and it does it beautifully, and it's brutal and it's heart wrenching, and there's nothing you can do about how terrible it is, except for what is there.
Christian, the actress is from Black Panther, right? She's the one that does all the tech.
Yeah, she plays the sister.
Yeah. I'm just checking out a picture of her right now, and I don't really check normally, because I've got a good memory of all the seasons. I've only watched them all once, so I've watched them as they come out, and yeah, she's a fantastic actress. I really am looking forward to her future roles. Marvel are just so good at stealing actors. So Crocodile, from season 4, my favorite season. How would you describe this one, guys? Because this is kind of a complicated one.
Riveting.
Well, how would you describe the plot?
This is, again, I think this is a nod. Because it's about this woman who's initially trying to cover up somebody else's accidental actions and then them going mental and trying to cover everything up because they were high whenever they hit someone on a road while they weren't looking, and that person is obviously dead. And they go and try and hide them, and these are like two people who are on holiday together. They obviously drift apart over the years, and then the guy turns up to the woman and is like, it's been weighing on my conscience. I need to get it off my conscience. And she's like, but I helped you cover that up. I'm gonna fucking go down too.
She's also now successful, whereas he is not.
Yeah.
And she kills him. And then she has to keep killing to try and get away with it. And her window of opportunity to get away with it shrinks and shrinks. And the stuff that she has to get on with in her life gets in the way. And she fucks it up badly with the help of some technology.
And it's all done in like 24 hours.
And yeah, it's this, on the other side of the story is this memory expert, I suppose you'd call her.
She's an insurance investigator. It's just... Now go on, Troy.
Now I'll say the way that Mia just plummets throughout the whole episode is crazy. She has to kill that person. Oh no! I have to kill that person now. I have to help him. I have to kill them. It's like it's crazy. Back to back deaths. She turns to a serial killer by the end of the episode. This is insane.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I love the performances. I'm not a fan of the episode.
Oh, okay.
Not a lot of people talk about this episode.
It's low key underrated.
It's the one out of season 4 that nobody talks about because that season is ridiculously packed.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. Season 4 is most probably the best season in terms of episodes, in terms of rating wise and acclaim. But it's an unvalued gem. I would put it in the middle of the pack, maybe.
See, it's lower down for me.
I don't really rank these things. I'm not like got a ranking system, but it's just under the top 10 for me. If you were to look,
weirdly enough, the thing that elevates this episode for me from being one that I probably would have just thought it's too silly is when she has to end up murdering the baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that twist. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then then it turns out the baby was blind, so she didn't actually have to do that.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I was like, wow.
At that point, I went, okay, this is proper Black Mirror now. I
love that twist. I love that twist.
Yeah, up until then, I kind of felt like it was a little bit silly. In terms of, I'm going to have to kill another person, and another one, and there goes another one. Yeah. Whereas she could have got her own memory wiped, and then no one could have proven any of this shit. So, yeah, it just, she chose to become a murderer rather than taking other options that would have been there.
I think
so. That's why I think that's why I don't like the episode, because she's. But then again, maybe that's the reason why it's Crocodile, because she doesn't actually mind the fact she's killing people, and it's all crocodile tears, whereas she's acting as if every time she has to kill someone, it's tearing her apart to do it.
So we've got to remember the actual proper twist, the pet guinea pig.
Yeah, well, that's a quality. That's a quality addition.
That was like, yo.
I was like, yes, that's the way you catch the bitch. Come on.
Didn't kill the animals though. He killed humans though.
True.
It's almost like the Lord Voldemort thing of what he doesn't think of, what
Yeah.
he doesn't consider important is what brings him down.
They have eyes too.
Oh, geez, so we'll move on to the next one. Very similar to Black Museum, White Christmas, which is again the Christmas special. The last one before Channel 4 decided it was too costly to do more Black Mirror, so Netflix picked it up. It's another anthology one. How it's basically we follow a gentleman. It starts in a Christmas hut, and then we find out over 3 stories. He tells 3 stories that he did in the background to get his trust. We find out he's trying to investigate the whereabouts of a child at the end. But the one that stays with me the most is, what is it? The dating thing. Where the guy, one of the stories is the guy's going on a date and he's in his earpiece about how to talk to women. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's like a pickup artist in your ear, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of this one? Do you think it's better than Black Museum?
Yes. This is probably my favourite episode of Black Mirror.
Because you've also got the egg one, the egg, the conscience is in the egg one, which is another interesting concept. And I can't remember what the other one was. Yeah.
Remember 3 stories. Give me a second. I'm trying to remember them.
It was being muted out of someone's life.
Yeah.
Being blocked.
Like what was that movie called?
Like blocked. Like you can't see their face, you can just see a screen.
I absolutely love this one.
This is for me. This is a fantastic episode.
Possibly, I haven't really given it the thought of whether this is my favourite, but it's right up there in the ones that I like and the ones that I really enjoy. And I think part of it is I felt myself when I was watching it, I should have seen the final twists coming. And I didn't. I was so immersed in the stories that I actually forgot to look for the twist.
Yeah.
Which means they did a good job on me, basically.
Yeah, if you didn't see the film working, they did a good job.
Also, can I just say, John Hamm is an absolutely fucking brilliant actor.
He's a legend.
Yeah. And a handsome bastard as well.
Yeah, Mr. Madman himself.
Yeah. Yeah. He is a very handsome man.
I'm trying to say all that, but yeah, you can have that if you want. Yeah.
He's in Mad Men. He was in Mad Men, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I first saw him.
He was in Good Omens as well.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Basically, I'll let you in on a secret. Okay. I saw John Hamm's character sheet, and he has a 20 in charisma.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Nice.
I like that.
Lovely. So I laughed at that. Hated in a Nation, which is a feature-length one. It's about a murder mystery.
Yep.
It's a Hitchcockian, and a disaster movie. The episode is, I think it's paced amazingly, actually. It's an hour and a half. Would any of you like to describe what it's about?
I love it. It's so good.
Do you want to describe it, Dan, or do you want me to describe it?
Do it.
Go on.
Okay, so it's kind of based around the issues of Twitter. There's this woman who is being given a lot of abuse online because she has insulted somebody who's in a wheel. Basically, it's Katie Hopkins is this character. You think this is going to be her who this episode revolves around, but actually she gets killed off in the first 10 minutes of this episode. And it turns out that she actually slits her own throat. But it turns out that there's this hashtag on Twitter called hashtag death2, and then you put the name of a person and their picture up. And it's this hashtag death2 thing is growing. So the next day, another person who's been getting pelters on Twitter ends up dead. And it turns out that this death2 thing was happening on their one. The other story that's going on at the same time is that the bee population has essentially died. And this company have created robotic bees that do the same job as a normal bee, which is obviously a huge part of our, not for making honey, but just for the entire ecosystem. So these robotic bees have now been used for a couple of years to keep the pollination process for flowers up and all that kind of stuff. But it turns out that actually the government have been using it for facial recognition software as well.
Yeah.
And these bees have been, the way that these two people died was that these bees have been burrowed into their heads and hit their pain receptor so that they will do anything to end that pain, including kill themselves. And you get 4 or 5 people who die that way, and it turns out it follows the 2 police detectives looking into it and trying to catch up with who the killer is. They then discover that the killer used to work for the company that made the bees, which is why he can hack it. And then it turns out they think that he's kind of supporting the people on Twitter to kill 1 person a day, but actually his master plan is to use all these bees to kill the people who've been using the hashtag death2 thing, because the problem is anonymous, no consequences for your actions is what he actually has the biggest problem with.
Okay.
Is kind of that's the way I read it anyway. I like Dan. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember a while ago I was speaking about The Tunnel as a TV show, which is based on another TV show and book called The Bridge, which is part of something that's called Scandinavian noir or Nordic noir. And this is very much in the same style, heavily influenced. Things like The Killing and the woman with the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Oh, The Killing is amazing. Watching that.
Yeah, all of those are classed as Nordic noir, and this is in the same mold.
Like Joe Nesbo and the like of that. Stieg Larsson, Joe Nesbo.
Yes, precisely.
Kind of storytelling.
And like I say, it's now become a whole subgenre called Nordic noir, and this is a real. I felt like it was a homage to that a lot of the time. My biggest issue with this episode is very much a personal thing. If there were 2 actors in it, basically the 2 female detectives who we follow, and it took me about 3 minutes to work out where I knew the main one from, and it took me an hour to work out where I'd seen the other one, and that was bothering the living crap out of me. Because the main woman was in Trainspotting.
Yeah.
The first Trainspotting film. The second one, it took me ages to recognise that she was the waif from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
There you go. Now you can see it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's on my days. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And I was sitting there going, I know her from something. I know her from something.
And you always see that guy as well, the cop, the NCA agent, Benedict Wong, him.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
This guy, man.
That's the guy from Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. These guys everywhere, bro. I love this guy.
Small world.
Yeah,
but yeah, this episode.
I have to say, I do love me some Benedict Wong.
Yes, there we go.
He is just proper brilliant.
He is. But coming back to the show, this episode is awesome. It's the longest one by quite some distance, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an hour, with the exception of the Bandersnatch, but yeah, top notch.
Top tier for me.
Very much so. And also it plays on that fear. Even if you're not afraid of bees, the idea of an insect accidentally going into your ear or something is a fear that all of us can understand.
Exactly. Just being near it, just hearing it going.
Yeah, exactly.
I do love. I'm just gonna say there's bees. What is it? That meme of bees. It's from The Simpsons. Bees. Huh?
Bees? No, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna shut up and move on to the next one then. Brilliant. So the next one is Nosedive. Yeah.
How in the name of Christ is this in the top 5? Honestly,
is this top 5?
Yeah. it's the thing is, right? Okay, so this is my opinion. I don't know what you guys feel. You know, those influencers that always want likes and subscribes and all that, and I know we're YouTubers now and podcasters, but we don't go over the top wanting likes and subscribers. We ask you guys, but we don't go over the top. If people could do this in real life, they would. This whole world where you get rated for everything you do for likes and stuff, that sounds like such a that's nightmare for me. That would definitely make me top myself. That's the only thing that would make me top myself is a world run by Facebook. Thumbs up. That's all I'm going to say. Ugh. It's nightmare fuel. I agree with the character at the end. No, that's where I would want to be locked up away from the rest of the human race. Yeah. Oh.
The approval.
Interesting concept.
This one was the easiest one for me to just go, nope, not going to happen.
Yeah. It's an interesting concept. I don't know. It's just a episode which, strangely, a lot of people reviewed really well.
It's because it's well acted and there's nothing wrong with it.
Kirsten Dunst is brilliant. Kirsten Dunst is brilliant as always.
Kirsten Dunst?
Kirsten Dunst? Say Kirsten.
She's not in Kirsten. She's not in this.
No, this is shit.
It's Dallas Howard.
It's Spider-Man's other fuck buddy, Gwen Stacy. Bruce Dallas Howard. I was about to say Emma Stone. One of these women has slept with Spider-Man. It's Bruce Dallas Howard.
One of these women has slept with Spider-Man. Answers on a postcard.
She's ginger. No, so basically,
awesome.
Yeah, she's really good in this. Yeah, she's fantastic. She's a very underrated actress.
That is the saving grace of this episode. Is she is really good.
And she does really try hard.
Shock woman.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. She's good in everything.
Yeah.
And she does realistically break down at the end, trying to deal with this nightmare world where everybody likes you judges you on your likes and your followers, which sounds just.
Yeah, I do love that scene at the end where she and that guy are just in those cubes shouting insults at each other and really enjoying themselves.
That's it. It's most probably the closest to living in North Korea that you can think of. You know, you can finally let loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just don't see why this is so high up. I appreciate that the story is interesting and the acting is good, but it's just.
Yeah, this is meh for me.
There's not enough to it.
Yeah, it's just kind of simple plot, really.
And it's the thing that scared me. I think it's why I stopped watching Black Mirror for so long. Is because this was the first Netflix one, and I went, really, this is where they're going? And I stopped for the longest time. Because I was a fan of Black Mirror. Like when we spoke about it months ago, I said I knew the first 2 seasons well, but not much after that.
Yeah.
It's because this episode kind of put me off.
Yeah, I watched a couple as well, so I'll send it to you.
This is the way this is going.
Yeah.
I'm not in, basically.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Right, so that's cool. I finally got the right Spider-Man woman. Cool. So the next one, the entire history of you, which is season 1, and I'm going to do a Tom. It's got the current Doctor in it, Jodie Whittaker. First time Whittaker. Thank you, Dan.
Whittaker.
Whittaker. Thank you. Oh, I agree with you, Dan. Yeah. Thank you for calling me out, Dan, and thank you for correcting me, Tom. Basically, this is the first time I think I saw her acting back in the day. It is an interesting episode. It's about a gentleman who we've got technology in your eyeballs where you can, with a little device in your hand, you can cycle through your memories and pinpoint things, which in this episode we find people how they use it a load of different ways, like to score points in an argument because you can play back and show them what was said. That would be a pain in the ass. That would be nightmare fuel, wouldn't it? For the perfectionists. Imagine having an argument with somebody and you can just bring back the conversation.
Yeah. That'd be terrible for you. Oh,
that'd be terrible. Mate, I'm telling you, everything I say. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I do love this episode. This is most probably the best episode of season 1 for me. Does it deserve to be the 4th best though? In the top 5, just outside top 5, maybe 7, maybe.
Because my boy, man, Toby Kebbell, man. If it wasn't for him, bro, he would be on top 4. Simple as that, bro.
Yeah.
That guy's a beast. That's great, man. It's a good plot, man. I like the plot. If you do like memories and stuff like that, I love stuff like that. If it's really done well, it can be done like the best visibility. I love it.
Okay.
It reminds me of there's a show that he's on right now. It reminds me of that, similar to that. We'll do his newer ones. But yeah, Toby Kebbell's a man. He's awesome. Fred Wick is alright. She's okay, but yeah, Toby Kebbell's the man.
Okay, what do Dan and Dan think of this?
They still there?
Yeah, still here. Still.
Oh, still there.
I don't agree with you about this being the best episode of season 3. In fact, I think it's my least favoured of season 1.
Oh, least.
Still brilliant. I mean, it's on a high level, but for me, I prefer definitely The Nation.
Oh, The Nation. Okay, and second one.
I can't remember what the other episode was. What was it?
50 Million Merits.
See, that for me is a brilliant. All 3 of the first series were fantastic. They're hard to break apart, in fairness.
Okay.
But this is the one that caught my attention least. It didn't keep me hanging on, whereas the other 2 I couldn't stop watching. Yeah. Whereas I think I kind of dropped in and out of this one while I was watching it.
Do you know what this reminded me of?
Go on.
Closer.
The ultimate date movie, right, Dan?
Oh my!
Ultimate date movie.
See, we need to give Dan. Would you like to give a little bit of background to why I laughed so hard?
Since you're fucking forcing it, since you're actually.
Hey, you brought up Closer, not my fault.
Because it does. I didn't need any exposition added on to nail that statement, mate.
I love it.
Fuck's sake! I went on a blind date with a girl and we went to see Closer, and then.
Why does that sound familiar? Hold on. I'm Wikipediaing this on air because this sounds like something I've seen.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it a while
ago. Oh no, that's Loser with the guy from American Pie. No, completely the wrong one.
No,
what is it?
The one
Closer.
With, Judd, what's his face?
Clive Owen in that.
Yeah.
It's got Jude Law in it. Oh, that's quite a good cast. Ooh,
it's all about relationships falling apart.
Okay, basically. My favourite type of stuff.
Yeah, it's ideal first date movie stuff. Oddly enough, that relationship didn't last, did it, Dan?
Wonder why.
Sorry, I do apologise. I didn't mean
that relationship was one good conversation and a movie. That was it.
That movie killed that relationship.
And I don't fucking blame her either. Yeah, it was meh for me. Like it's well done. I can see it's well done. I can see that as a commentary on paranoia, it's fucking good. I see how technology can kind of move towards being more like that, and how that will naturally happen because we are stupid, insecure fuckwits 300% of the time. Yeah. It's all of that, but at the same time, I was never surprised, and I was bored more than I was entertained.
Say what you think, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, yeah, that one is in the bag. Right. This is the best episode of, in my opinion, this is number 1. San Jupiter.
San Junipero.
Thank you. I'm not going to do the accent, but thank you. So this is a very lovely episode. This is about two women living online, and they fall in love with each other online. Then they meet in real life, and it's a beautiful episode. Some people think this is quite overhyped, but this is for me a fantastic. This is the best thing that Black Mirror's ever done. I just like the fact it's got a happy ending. You know, this is one of the episodes that was one of the first episodes to change the perception of Black Mirror being a dark show all the time. Yeah, love this one. Anyone else want to jump in?
It's a good episode. I don't think I have quite as much love for it as you do, but it's a very, very good episode. And it was nice to see something where it wasn't just bleak.
And I think that's why I love it so much, because it's just nice to see a little bit of a change. Yeah, I adore this episode. Yeah, it puts a smile on my face. I've watched this episode quite a few times.
I think if this episode had been on before Nosedive, then I might not have dropped out of watching Black Mirror. I could have accepted this level of change, but not what Nosedive did. So I wish this had been the first episode of season 3, almost.
Yeah, I love the plot, man. If you do time jumping, I love stuff like that, man. Mind the time machine a little bit. I'm the time machine, bro. I love that. Love that.
Yeah,
mind me of that a little bit.
There's a cinema there that's got Scream on every night of the week. I'd be going too often to watch the film.
Yeah.
It's a cheesy slasher flick, but I do love it. So if it was on constantly, I'd just be going in there far too often.
Oh yeah, I'll be rinsing those movies out. My gosh, yeah.
The thing about this one that really does make it special is the same thing about what is it, the dating app one? What do you call it?
Hang the DJ.
Yeah.
Hang the DJ. Right. Is it manages to actually be charming.
Yes.
Yes.
Like it's proper, like very naturally charming. Even through the tension, even through the, oh, what's going on? We don't know what's happening. Even through the, wow, this is going to make some seriously difficult decisions even more difficult. It's charming.
Oh, yeah. Stuff like this makes me cry, man. I'm like, I can't watch stuff like this, but I managed to get through it though.
Here's a question I've got.
I was like, yo, hit me.
Did this get answered in the episode? Maybe someone can help me here. Why was she getting married to, like, her orderly? The woman who was in the coma. Why was she getting?
To have permission to make the transfer.
That's what I thought, but I didn't know whether they explained that properly or not. Okay.
Yeah, it was to tick the boxes, and everyone was in on it, but they had to tick the boxes to do it.
I kind of figured that must be it, but I didn't know whether they actually said it at any point. Maybe I missed them saying it. But yeah, okay, no, that's it. That was my one kind of I wonder why type thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Troy?
Yeah, Good episode.
Good episode, man. Good episode. I love. I told you, man. I love this kind of plot, man. If you time jumping, I'm in, all in, yo.
It's a sweet love story as well.
That's why I brought up like the movie The Time Machine, where he's trying to find like his lost lover kept dying over and over again, so he kept going back and forth different time periods and stayed there. So it reminded me of that, so I loved it. I love the plot.
I can speak to Tom's taste, but I can't speak to anyone else's. But I suspect you're all the same. But I love a good love story.
Yeah. Really well, usually I'm not, but if it's done really well, I love it.
It depends entirely on my mood.
Exactly. It depends on what I'm doing at the time. But if it's really done well, I can love it all the time. It depends what it is. Depends what it is.
Okay, so episode 2 is to quote the guy from Scream. I'll be right back. No, be right back is or it's brilliant. It's got Domhnall Gleeson, and Captain America star Haley Atwell in it. 2 big names. Basically, it's about a couple, very happy couple. The guy dies, and I think it's the mother or a friend of someone recommends to her to get an Android, and they could take your social media and have a robotic version based on their memories from social media to try accurately behave like the deceased person. It is a heartbreaking episode.
It is an uncomfortable episode.
It's it's top 5, top 3 for me. This is it makes you wonder if they try and do this one day. The thought of trying to mimic a living person with an Android just from their social media posts is it's another nightmare one, isn't it? It's just incredible acting. Yeah, he tries to act like he's the boyfriend, the husband, but it breaks your heart when he just admits that he's not him. You know, it's horrible.
Like that sort of, you can tell what's off, but you can't really put words to it until she does.
Yeah.
Where she says that he is like a fraction of who he was. Like it's really, really well done, and it's very, very unsettling for it.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when Black Mirror really does a love story.
I mean, I really like the actor. My favorite film of his is he was great in Star Wars. He's also in About Time, the romantic comedy with time skipping. It's a silly film, but I just love it because he's such a charming actor.
He was in Harry Potter.
Yeah, but he's the Weasley. He's the one, the Weasley twin that you don't remember.
No, he's not one of the Weasley twins.
Oh, is it because he's ginger? No. Okay. So
He's one of the Weasley brothers. He's not one of the Weasley twins. There's a difference.
No, that's what I mean. If out of the Weasley family, he's the one you forget about because he's barely in it. Sorry, thank you for correcting me.
Wait, don't forget Ex Machina. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, Ex Machina. Oh, yeah. I need to watch Devs at some point, actually, because that the director of that. Anyway, back on track. He's a great. I really do love him, and obviously Haley Atwell is Atwell. She's really good. She's gone into bigger things, and hopefully one day we see a bit more of the Peggy
Carter.
I didn't say Peggy Mitchell. That's totally not what I was going for. Oh God, can you imagine the nightmare of that? Or Captain America, get out of my pub. No, yeah, I hope that comes back. That would be good. Yeah, and the ending with the kid, because she knocks him in the attic. Their daughter goes to see him. It's
every weekend.
It makes me cry.
So disturbing.
Yeah,
that creeped me out. I was like, damn, this is weird.
It's a bit off-putting, like Dan said. It's a bit uncanny valley, you know.
Like that's what's normal for that kid. Holy shit!
That kid's damaged. That's a damaged child.
Actually, that kid comes across as being quite normal, all things considered.
Yeah, but like that's the normal they're working with. Fucking hell! This is an android of my dad. The fuck?
Having friends over and watching the
This is the robot of my dead dad that lives in the attic. Say hi.
Yeah, but I think she and her mother are the only ones who know he's there.
She just brings the class around. What have you got for show and tell? My dead dad. You have to come to the attic to come see him, though.
You know she's gonna let him out at some point.
Yeah, and he can't kill my dad now. Look at him, he's Iron Man. Yeah, so that's that one. This is top 5 for me. This deserves its number 2 spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
Top 5, definitely. I don't know if I'd put it number 2, but top 5, yeah.
But when it came out, it was the best Black Mirror episode at the time. For a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
This is one.
But it's beautiful in its simplicity. The beauty of that episode is it is so simple. It's because it's all about loss. And how you deal with loss.
Not the awful American TV show.
No, not Lost.
Yeah,
Lost.
I'm joking. Keep up.
The meme. 4 panels.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so the last one that we've got to talk about is, I think this is my favourite one. It's just Star Trek all over the place. It's the USS Callister. Who wants to take this? Because this is my favourite episode. How do you describe this episode?
This is the first episode that was ever done properly outright for laughs. There are points in it that are done purely to be jokes to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Which is an odd thing for Black Mirror, but it worked.
I'm surprised they did not get sued by Paramount for the almost on the knuckle Star Trek thing. It is so close. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, Charlie Brooker says in the making of, he's surprised they didn't. They were always checking with Paramount every day to make sure that they weren't stepping on their shoes.
It's probably the fact that they checked with Paramount that Paramount let them do it.
Yeah.
They showed some level of respect to the fact that they were sending up Star Trek.
Yeah. It's just if Captain Kirk could be even more of a bigger dick, basically.
Yeah, that's a point about this one is I'm trying to rack my brain, but this has the character that you get to hate earliest for longest.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
In all of the Black Mirror episodes that I can think of.
I mean, he is an outright bad guy.
Scumbag.
He is within the game, but is he really in the outside world?
Yeah, is he really? Yeah, because I know he's like who was just getting like no real recognition for his work and all that, but at the same time, it's just like probably because of the other stuff that I've seen him in, but he always plays that kind of role anyways.
Well, I'm not really talking about the outside persona. I'm literally talking about the in-game persona.
Yeah. The in-game persona is a dickhead from...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, persona is a dick, yeah.
But I mean, even the outside persona by the end, you come to dislike and you want to see lose.
Yes.
Because it's so clear that he enjoys being the other persona.
It gets consumed by it, yeah, so that's why.
Also, you can kind of understand why he put the other people into the game. They had been dicks to him, whereas the new woman had been nothing but nice. She'd come to find him to say that he was a hero of hers.
Yeah.
So why the hell did he put her in the game?
This is a funny episode. It just keeps on throwing out one-liner after one-liner. This feels like Star Trek with its cock out, you know what I mean? Like what they would want to say real life.
Star Trek meets The Office.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Star Trek with its cock fully out and it's on the table.
Right.
Sorry. But like it's just I love how it's such a different again to everything we've seen. And episodes like this has made season 5 feel a bit underneath because seasons 3 and 4 are just mostly wall-to-wall bangers.
Yeah.
You know, and season 2 is quite strong as well. I just feel like 5. Hopefully, season 6 can continue this gradual, you know. Should we
Well,
quickly
hopefully
talk about?
season 6 will be closer to like 3 and 4 in time.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, go on.
I would like to see more international filmmakers, and by that I don't just mean American and British. I would love to see like a Korean or Japanese cast. One, I would love to see it more international. I think they can do that now with Black Mirror. I love the fact that they expanded it to America. I think it's really good to go back and forth. But I would really like to see more diverse. Doesn't even have to be a Black Mirror in English. You know what I mean? We're at that point now where this show can be. I think season 5 felt a bit safe.
If we're gonna have an homage to Nordic noir, let's have a Nordic noir.
Go on then, yes, Dan.
Yes, or Japan, like Akihabara or something is a live thing or something. I don't know, but you could do a lot with season 6. I mean, just having one non-American British cast or director, and it'd be totally amazing. Now, I want to quickly talk about Bandersnatch. I know we weren't going to, but what was your favourite ending in Bandersnatch? And if you played it,
Haven't watched it.
Haven't done anything with it.
Okay.
Nope.
No. Okay. Brilliant. Great. I'm so glad we went through that. I'll quickly talk about it then. I went for it once. But then you keep looping back. It's very well branched though, so you can figure out how to loop back to previously. You can do it in one playthrough. In about 3 hours, 4 hours, you can see everything. Some of it's just mental. But you can't review it, really, can you?
No.
I think Netflix has got rid of the click and adventure thing because it just doesn't work. For I don't know. I love it. I personally think it's a really brave thing to do. And the thing is now they don't announce when they're going to drop Black Mirror. They just drop it. You know? But yeah, you guys should go try it and tell me how you thought of it next week.
I will go and try it at some point. Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting experiment. But I got a bit bored after an hour. Because I think it's good just to do it one time and then you have your experience.
I'm having a complete break from Black Mirror for a good while. I am not going back to.
You've got ice cream headache. You've ate your ice cream too much. You ate your Black Mirror too much. You've now got an ice cream headache of Black Mirror.
Ben, you broke Dan.
Sorry, Dan. Yeah, but like Dan said already, you should really watch one a day or have the time to think about it. That's what I like to do.
Fortnite.
Think about what you watched and then do the next episode. Yeah, for Black Mirror, it's a very heavy show with concepts. And I would like one day for us to do a similar one, which is Inside Number 9 one day, because oh dear God, that is a great show. I would like to do a podcast like we do for Smug Mode with it. So yeah.
Someone's loved.
Oh, that's good. Hey. So what was everyone's favourite episode then and worst episode? Let's just rank like the best and worst.
I have a pretty solid top 5. Number 1 is Black Museum.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the Waldo moment. Number 3 is, I think, most likely, Hated in the Nation. Number 4 is San Junipero, and number 4 is 15 Million Merits, and number 5 is Hang the DJ, and then San Junipero's just outside. That's where mine is.
Okay. The worst one?
Sorry?
Your worst one.
Worst one?
Yeah.
Nosedive's pretty meh. I think probably Striking Vipers wasn't great, but the acting got it better. Archangel was utter crap.
Damn, okay.
Harsh.
Sorry, my opinion.
Damn.
No,
Yeah, you're welcome to.
harsh.
Okay, Troy.
I'd say my favorite has to be. I'm back and forth between these two, but I'm gonna go. Okay, first Waldo moment. That's my favorite. And let's see worst. I'd say. Trying to think now because the trees is so flipping hard to say the worst because it's tough. I don't want to say Metalhead because I like the noir style. I don't want to say Metalhead. I'd say the worst for me is Flip It, I Go Smithereens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tom.
Best one for me is White Christmas.
Okay.
Not because you've got a drugs problem. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just ignore me.
Jeez.
That's a good joke. No, it's not.
That's not a good joke.
That's not a good joke.
It's terrible.
That is not. That is the antithesis of a good. It's not
a
good.
white
It's not a joke.
Christmas. You gave me my heart. The
Stop
very
lying.
next day, you snorted it away.
Yeah, that confidence.
Okay,
Disclaimer,
sorry.
The opinions of Ben Gilman are not the opinions of Square Eyes Syndrome.
Yes,
Don't
disclaimer.
do drugs, kids. Stay in school. Don't do drugs.
Dan,
Straight up.
Broken Ben.
Stay in drugs.
Yeah,
Don't
broken,
do
yeah.
Maybe I should get a guitar. White Christmas could be my number one Christmas hit. Dan, we could make it for Christmas.
I'm a stop you there. I've heard the proposal and given all of the context. I'm out.
It's a no for me. What is this?
And for those reasons,
Dragon's Den. Turn into Dragon's Den. I'm out.
Not for me.
Not for me. Nope. Your song sex.
Anyway.
Nope. Yeah. Sorry, Tom.
Worst one for me is Nosedive.
Yeah.
Well, this podcast is nosediving with my jokes. Yeah. Fair play.
what
So
about you,
Ben?
Ben?
What's your best and worst?
Best one. Oh, that's a difficult one. I would say for impact, Be Right Back. Like, that's my favorite one. Like, that left me with the biggest feelings. But my happiest one is San Junipero.
San Junipero, yeah. Okay.
I like romance. So those are, anytime you have that as the main thing, those are like the ones where I'm interested in. And the dating one, Hang the DJ. For shocking, White Bear and Be Right Back. There's my top 5. Not Be Right Back. What's the one with the paedophile in? Those are my top 5.
Shut Up and Dance.
Shut Up and Dance.
Yeah, so a combination of romance and shock, like, pull the rug out of me. Endings, really. Those are my top 5.
Okay.
The worst one, it's not shit, but like Tom said, it's the least favorite. It's going to be the American one, the American military one. I just kind of found it really predictable, and it didn't do much.
Men Against Fire.
Yes,
Yeah,
but not a bad episode. There's no.
No, there are no bad episodes of Black Mirror.
Yes, there's none that where we're just ripping it to pieces. It's a very strong series. It's just my least favorite one. It's just when I can predict things, I don't find it predictable. I just don't find it fun when you can already see it coming from a mile off.
Yeah, no, that's fair play.
That's good. Okay, So that's that. That's a pretty good special. 2 hours long. We hope you came all the way through with it. If you have any feedback or anything, Dan, what's the email address?
Tom, what's the email address?
Square Eye Syndrome 2020 at gmail.com.
Didn't I do a good job there?
Fantastic. Well done.
Faultless covering there, Dan. Well done.
My brain is shutting down. Tom is a firefighter right now. No, Dan's a firefighter. Oh, I'm going to shut this down because I'm talking.
We've definitely broken Ben.
Too much black mirror. He's cracked.
I've not been drinking, I swear to God.
Ken Billman's coming out.
I'm so drunk right now.
I have not been drinking, I swear to God. It sounds like I have been doing a lot of alcohol today. So next week we're back to normal. Troy will talk about Supernatural because it's obvious. And we'll be back to normal. We'll continue with Smug Mode Season 5 on Wednesday. So yeah, thank you for listening. Please, Dan, you do your bit. This is the bit. Go on, do your plea.
What?
Shill monkey, shill.
Shill monkey, dance
I'll
for me.
do the shill monkey
Yeah,
bit.
love you. Subscribe. Yeah, come on.
Okay. Please, people, get into a position where later on we can beg you for money.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're doing a Patreon where we're charging you £10 a month so that we can go on things. Yeah. Also, I just want to give a shout out. Hold on a second. We have new countries to talk about. Let me just find the data. So we've already given shouts out to America, England, Germany, Holland, Canada. So we can now add New Zealand. Oh yeah, Ireland as well. New Zealand has now been added to the list of countries that are listening to us. So hello, hi. Hope you're having a good day.
Morning,
thank you for listening.
Bonjour, guten Abend,
lovely,
and the rest of it.
It's a good mix. I'm really happy because it's always exciting when we get another country listening to the podcast. So we are now 7 countries are listening to us. And just to quickly update you, America is still number 1, and the number 1 state. I'm going to make it competitive. It's Ohio. Ohio is now our favorite one. Washington's gone down to 3rd.
Really?
Yeah.
Ohio,
fair enough. Ohio.
So Virginia's 2nd. Ohio's now gone to number 1, and Texas is number 4. Oregon 5, California 6, Minnesota, Illinois, New Jersey. Thank you all so much. What a bunch of great states.
All right.
Yeah, Ohio. My favorite state's Ohio. I'm not just saying that. There's a lot of good games set in there.
All the states have merit.
All of them.
They do.
Shout out to my favorite. Shout out to them.
My favorite one is where the game Life is Strange is set. So, how you doing? Straight from friends. Anyway, it's goodbye from me.
Bye from me.
Bye from me.
Yeah.
Goodbye. I'm still confused about the state of states. Goodbye from me.
Right. Log off now. Bye bye.